Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most massive, high-stakes corporate and sporting dramas in modern European history. Seriously, this one has it all. It's a story of incredible highs, absolutely catastrophic financial gambles, and a fierce, ongoing battle for the very soul of an institution. We are, of course, talking about Valencia Club de Football. Okay, let's dive into this, because this is a mystery that has literally haunted the city of Valencia for over a decade and a half. If you take a walk through the Benicalap district today, you'll come face to face with this massive, dormant concrete skeleton. It was supposed to be the shining monument to a footballing powerhouse, but instead, it became a glaring symbol of hubris and financial ruin. So how exactly does a club go from the absolute pinnacle of European sports to near insolvency and then attempt a billion-dollar resurrection? To truly wrap our heads around this, we're going to walk through a pretty fascinating timeline together. We'll start with the golden era, move into the architectural trap, then the Meriton acquisition, a club in revolt, the financial resurrection, and finally wrap up with the future horizon.
Section 1. The Golden Era. Continental Dominance.
You know, to really understand the deep frustration of the fans today, you have to realize just how massive Valencia, affectionately known as Los Che, was at the turn of the millennium. They weren't just a good team, right? They were the absolute gold standard. This is a club with a deeply, deeply ingrained cultural identity. Fun fact for you, their iconic crest features a bat, which is a symbol dating all the way back to 1238. Legend has it, a bat landed on King James I's flag right before he reclaimed the city, and it was taken as a sign of immense good luck. And man, in the early 2000s, that luck was definitely in full swing. The sheer tactical excellence of that era was just unreal. Just think about this run for a second. They made back-to-back Champions League finals, and then, under manager Rafael Benítez, they completely shattered the domestic dominance of Real Madrid's Galacticos and Barcelona. No small feat. They won La Liga in 2002 and then pulled off a historic double in 2004, winning both the league and the UEFA Cup. They were quite literally on top of the world. But, as we see so often, massive success breeds massive overconfidence. Chapter 2. The Architectural Trap, a real estate gamble gone wrong. Let's move to and see how this builds, because by the mid-2000s, the club's president, Juan Bautista Soler, really wanted to capitalize on their newly minted global status. He decided they needed a brand new 75,000-seat stadium, the Nou Mestalla, to basically be the premier sporting venue in all of Europe. The grand plan: finance this massive new build by selling the highly valuable land underneath their old stadium during what was then a booming Spanish housing market. But just look at how the timing played out. They announced the stadium in 2006. In 2008, the global real estate market absolutely crashed. Land values plummeted overnight, the expected revenue completely disappeared, but the club still held the massive loans for the construction they'd already started. By February 2009, the money simply ran out, and construction on the Nou Mestalla was halted completely, which left the club facing this staggering figure by 2013. 547 million euros in debt, mostly owed to Bankia. At this point, Valencia was effectively insolvent. Just to survive and make the interest payments, they were forced into a period of managed decline. They had to systematically sell off absolute world-class superstars, guys like David Villa, David Silva, and Jordi Alba. They desperately needed a rescue. Section 3. The Meriton acquisition, hope, hubris, and devaluation. Enter Peter Lim. In May 2014, the Singaporean billionaire swooped in, acquiring a 70.4% stake in the club through his company, Meriton Holdings. Initially, he was greeted by thousands of fans as a savior. People thought he was the guy who would clear the debts and finally finish the stadium. But that honeymoon period didn't last long at all. What followed was a massive shift towards severe austerity. For the past decade, the club has operated under a model of extreme asset liquidation just to pay down that debt. This meant a steady, painful stream of top-tier talent walking out the door. We're talking generational talents like Ferran Torres to Manchester City, defensive pillars like Christian Mosquera to Arsenal, and elite goalkeepers like Georgi Mamardashvili to Liverpool. So, the crucial point is, this exact strategy has profoundly devalued the team on the pitch. Following their 2019 Copa del Rey victory under manager Marcelino, the squad was valued at a very healthy 450 million euros. Fast forward to 2026, that valuation has absolutely plummeted to just 156 million euros. And as you might guess, as the squad quality rapidly declined, the friction off the pitch utterly exploded.
Section 4. A club in revolt, the sociological conflict. Valencia CF today is a club completely caught between a global ownership group trying desperately to stabilize a balance sheet and a fiercely passionate local fan base that feels its cultural institution is being hollowed out. And it's really important we look neutrally at both sides of this intense friction. From the administration's perspective, they'll tell you they're making incredibly difficult but absolutely necessary choices. As Valencia's CEO of football, Ron Gurley, stated, "The club needs stability, we need to keep working the way we are working now." The ownership basically argues that you simply cannot spend millions on star players when you are actively trying to avoid bankruptcy. They are advocating for patience, a reliance on youth development, and a very strict data-driven financial structure.
But on the flip side, the fan response has been fierce, deeply organized, and largely led by the Libertad VCF movement. They view the Meriden era as a lost decade of competitive decay. The pushback has been relentless. We've seen massive, coordinated social media campaigns using the hashtag #LimGoHome. We've seen unprecedented stadium walkouts, literally thousands of fans purposely leaving their seats empty during matches in 2022, 2024, and again in 2026. The tension was so high it even sparked an international incident in late 2024 when a Spanish couple protesting the ownership was actually detained in Singapore. I mean, it is a genuine sociological war right now.
Section 5. The financial resurrection, the 2025 Goldman Sachs pivot.
Amidst all this chaos, both on and off the pitch, the club knew it had to find a structural way out. They needed a lifeline, and that lifeline was formulated in late 2024 and fully executed in 2025. It's what we call the Goldman Sachs pivot. It's a massive, highly complex refinancing package designed to finally actually restart construction on that abandoned stadium. Let's break down exactly how they pulled this off, step by step. First, they secured a €121 million long-term corporate facility through U.S. private placement, which basically means getting backing from major institutional players like insurance companies and pension funds. Second, Goldman Sachs stepped in with a €65 million bridge loan to cover immediate working capital and to physically get the stadium works moving again. And finally, the absolute crown jewel of the deal, a €322 million stadium securitization package finalized in June 2025.
Now, what's really interesting about all this is how securitization actually works. Valencia essentially separated its legacy, toxic debt from its future potential. They promised the banks all the future money the new stadium is going to make. We're talking ticketing, premium food and beverage, naming rights, and they use that future promise to get the cold, hard cash today to actually build the thing. They are quite literally using their future home to pay off their past sins.
And if you're wondering why this new stadium is so undeniably crucial to making the math work, just think about this comparison. The old Mestalla has fewer than 500 hospitality seats. The new Mestalla, which is set to open in 2027, will have over 6,500. That is a massive, game-changing explosion in premium, high-margin revenue. It completely transforms the stadium from just a place to watch 19 league matches a year into a multi-purpose financial engine capable of hosting huge concerts and corporate events year-round.
Section 6. The future horizon, a fragile stabilization. So here we are today in 2026. The cranes are finally moving again. The structural roof is actually being lifted into place. But make no mistake, the club is walking a very, very fragile tightrope right now. On the pitch, they've managed to find a degree of stability under manager Carlos Corberán, pulling off a solid 9th-place finish in the 25-26 season. Since they can't make big money signings, they are relying incredibly heavily on their famed Paterna Youth Academy, bringing up bright young talents like Javi Guerra and Diego Lopez to hold the line. And financially, that severe, painful cost-cutting, it is showing results, posting a modest operating profit of €23.8 million.
The ownership's vision for the future is certainly crystal clear. As club president Peter Lim puts it, Nou Mestalla is not just bricks and seats. It's the engine that will drive our next era of growth. The ultimate grand plan is to finally finish this 70,000-seat stadium by 2027, move the team in, and then sell off the highly valuable downtown real estate where the old Mestalla currently sits to wipe out the remaining debt entirely. On paper, it is a brilliant financial roadmap. But here is the massive, looming catch. The ultimate risk. This entire Goldman Sachs financing deal is completely predicated on Valencia remaining a top-tier team in Spain's La Liga. With a highly depleted squad that's valued at a mere fraction of its former self, their margin for error is razor thin. If they hit a bad run of form, a few key injuries strike, and the club suffers relegation to the second division, those securitized television and ticketing revenues will instantly collapse. The whole house of cards could come tumbling right down.
Which leaves us with this final, profound question to consider. Valencia is in the middle of executing one of the most remarkable financial and architectural recoveries in sports history. But can a 70,044-seat financial engine truly resurrect the soul of a football club? Or has a decade of strict austerity and fierce sociological conflict broken the bond between the club and its city beyond repair? It's a wildly fascinating saga of modern sports capitalism, and the whole world is going to be watching to see what happens when those doors finally open in 2027. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.